welcome along to another video in the Army List Analysis series. I'm whacking them out before Christmas in time for the new season of the TDC, the League, and we are looking at Bronze Age stroke Iron Age. I've done 2 army lists already. I've covered the Assyrians and the Egyptians, and now we are looking at the Sea Peoples. This is quite an interesting army. If you've only just joined us and you haven't seen my other videos, I'm following League format, so we're using 1400 points, which is what we use in the League for this section. And what have we got? Basically, we have got some pretty fearsome impact foot. So this army is all about, and let's do a zoom actually. I haven't zoomed on in the other videos. Look at this. Some interesting looking warriors. And I like the chariots as well. Look at that. So yes, it's all about impact, and we have got the cheap version, so the lightly protected impact foot, and then we've got the protected kind, which cost 4 more, and then we've got the picked swordsman version, so superior, but they're smaller units, these guys, but it's a bonus that they're superior quality and also some armor, so they're quite nice to have. But we're going to talk a little bit more about them a bit later when we look at rebalancing and maybe strategies of how to play with this list, because there are some limitations. We've only got a max of 5 light chariots, so that is a bit of a downer. You're quite limited in how you're going to play this with this list. It's all about your infantry, all about your impact foot, charging up the hills, into the valleys, over the streams, and getting into combat. It's a bit like the Romans actually in classical. It's all about impact and getting your infantry going, which are generally better than your enemy's infantry. And that's kind of similar to this list, the Sea Peoples. They've just got large units. As I mentioned in my video yesterday, these units, because they're large, they're quite hard to disrupt. Although something came to my mind, because I was talking about the Assyrians struggling to disrupt, and that's because mixed bow, they're not quite as effective as bowman units, i.e. mass bowmen. So that's something I've got to check out. But mass bowmen are going to get more casualties, but still, they're still going to hang around a bit longer than you'd want. So that large size is definite plus. And because I've got so many, I think I've got about 16 units altogether of impact foot, and then the 2 superior quality units. Now, we might as well talk about them now. What I'm thinking about is, because of our limitations with light chariots, we don't have any light horse, we've only got 5 light chariots. Your flanks are going to be quite important. It's a bit like the Romans again, that you want to get your center into action and protect your flanks, because also the Romans don't have a lot of cavalry in classical. So it's quite similar kind of tactic. It's kind of like an arrowhead, I'd say. You'd want to move forward and have some units covering the flank just a little bit behind your center. That's the classic tactic, really. And what I am thinking about is that originally I had about 4 of the picked swordsmen, but because they're so expensive, and because you've got irregular foot, it's basically 2 units for 1 with a few points over. These units, these irregular foot, are actually very good at holding back enemy cavalry. because you're not fighting lancers. It's often early cavalry. Okay, chariots might be a bit harder, especially the heavy chariots, but then if a heavy chariot charges you and gets into melee and breaks you, it's a bit of a waste of points, because this unit's only 30. Heavy chariot is 60 plus. So overall, because they're spearmen, they are actually pretty good. You'll be surprised how good they are against cavalry. So I think you might have to use them on the flanks to hold your flank while the big boys do the damage. That's what I would say. And I would even consider, because I have got 16 units of impact foot already, I might well not bring these picked swordsmen. That's 126 points. You could take a lot of, let's do it. Yeah, we take out them and we add 1, 2, 3, 4, so double, and that might well be what I do. We haven't got any, we've got 14 points over, so unfortunately we haven't got any slightly better than irregular foot units, but yeah, it would be 44, wouldn't it? Yeah, but yeah, you could juggle around. We don't also have archers. You know, sometimes you can use extra points on archers if you've got javelin men, but we can't. So we are a little bit limited in some options, but I might well do that, and that gives you a humongous, a humongous infantry army, really, and it is quite fearsome. So yeah, take out some extra irregular foot. That is probably what I would do. What kind of grade would I give this army? I think, even though they've got great impact foot, because they've got no cav backup, limited light chariot backup, no light archers, no mass bowmen, you can really only play one way. I think it's about an A minus. I think it's going to be about an A minus. But they would be a difficult army to face, and this kind of map, maybe you would use the marsh. There is a stream, you know, any kind of built up areas, marsh here. You would probably have to make the most of the map, play fairly defensive. I think that would be a good thing to do. Maybe move back a little and bring your cavalry around on the flanks, because the sea peoples don't have a counter for that. They'd have to maybe lengthen their line. Yes, you could use irregular foot, as I've suggested, but then it's fairly easy for cavalry and light chariots to just go around them. So it's quite hard to hold your flanks, especially. It depends how far you have to move forward, so it can be tricky. So yeah, there'd be about an A minus, I think. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Have you used the Sea Peoples? Have you played against them? Do you have any tips that you want to share with us? Let us know in the comments below. Okay, thanks a lot for watching, and see you again soon.